But I also heard that fog clouds are a hipster's favorite spell because it makes everything obscure.
That's terrible. That's not funny at all.
You can cut that.
That was about the worst joke I have ever heard, and I think it tanks our entire reputation.
Yeah, I'm just going to go home.
Yeah, we're done. That's it, guys. I'm sorry.
So in conclusion, yeah, that was a huge waste of time. This entire discussion was just dumb. Don't do this.
Welcome to Monsters and Multiclass, your weekly Dungeons & Dragons fix between sessions. I'm Kevin Odie.
I'm Jared Bornagle.
And I'm Will Meldon.
And we'll be hanging out with you for the next hour to talk about anything and everything D&D related. This is episode number 5. We'll be looking at the Druid, Paladin multiclass, and later on the super terrifying Nightwalker. So take a seat and listen up. All right.
So, Kevin.
Yes.
Did you use all your energy on that intro? What do we got today?
I did. I'm just deflated.
All right.
Someone needs to carry me for a bit.
You're the only one who studied, so we're kind of relying on you.
So, yeah, Druid, Paladin. I think it's a really good example of a class where they're both really good individually, but looking through, there's not much that meshes together. Like previously we talked about like the rogue barbarian, which surprisingly had some synergy, like reckless attack will help the rogue sneak attack, and they just make it better. There's not really much that I'm seeing with Druid Paladin. It's kind of more like I want to be a good Druid part of the time and a good Paladin part of the time.
Right. The only thing I'll say is it sounds fun from an RP perspective. I like the idea of like an eco warrior, and you can definitely pull that off. Beyond that, I don't see much class synergy.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of cool characters I think you can make. I would say Captain Planet is probably the original Druid Paladin. The holy warrior of nature.
Yeah, I
So that
definitely
could be always
see that.
cool. Will, do you have any thoughts? Initial thoughts?
I don't think we've ever really had a druid. I think we avoid that class for some bizarre reason.
Not entirely true. I had at least one player as a druid. That was in Storm King's Thunder, though, that I don't believe you were a part of.
No,
Yeah, that was before you came on board in that campaign.
Right, and I think from that, I've never really had a huge connection to the druid class. There's nothing great in my mind about it, besides, again, just flavor. It's a really cool idea of having something that, just transforms into beasts and whatever, but the fact that you can't even cast spells when you are in your wild shape form really takes away from being able to do everything at once, and you're more just kind of shoehorned into doing one thing and then the other, or just different things at a time.
Yeah, keep in mind when we played with that person who was a druid, she was new. It was her very first character, and it's a complicated class to start with, so that probably didn't really help things. I think the druid has a lot of potential, but yeah, you have to understand you're kind of doing a bit of a couple things. You're not, if you want to play the druid and you're just always going to be an animal, just like a frontline fighter, you're really missing out on stuff. And if all you do is spellcast, you're also missing out on stuff. It's kind of almost seems every RPG, be it video game or tabletop or whatever, the druid is the utility, the jack of all trades, excels in a lot of different areas depending on the situation.
Right, and I think the main way to even play it is just very first turn, cast a spell that you got to hold concentration on, like conjure animals or one of the other ones they have. There's tons to choose from. And then go into your wild shape. Then you get that health buff for a little bit, and hopefully can maintain concentration long enough to have some great battlefield control. I mean, conjuring really is great for that. It's frustrating to run as a DM because you're just adding 4 or 12 things into the initiative order, which, there's ways to deal with, but still kind of frustrating.
That also kind of feeds back into us being just kind of lazy pieces of garbage about a lot of our class selection. The druid and the ranger both suffer from, I have to memorize not only my class, but also some random mob creature like a bear. It's like, is that a huge burden on the player? No. But once you have to remember what an eagle does, what a coyote does, and you're like, man, my brain hurts.
Well, yeah, I mean, it feels like every...
Yeah, and then we get our sheets mixed up, and you see what happens to my sheets. Looks like they went through a tornado.
It's over the course of campaign, Will's sheets always seemed to take on the characteristics of the flaw of his characters. Like, he had one that was a pyro, and then all of a sudden we notice by the end of it, it's covered in burn marks and has holes in it. Looks like cigarette burns. I don't know. I think he goes home and just does this.
I don't know. And
he tries to pretend like, oh, it just happened naturally. I'm that quirky. Ooh.
No, but there was the one that was the secretly evil one, and it just had like kill, murder.
Oh yeah,
written
the one who
all
lost his
over
mind.
it.
Yeah.
Oh, and the really hard scribbles where like you scribble so hard it breaks through the paper. That's classic psychopath stuff.
I like it though. I think it adds a nice extra flavor to the character. You can really reflect how messed up every single person you make is. But I do think it's funny that the one you're playing now, which is an alcoholic, just happens to have beer spilled on it. And I think that one was on accident. You spill beer on most everything you own.
Yeah, that just kind of, that's personal synergy right there. It's like, oh, how do you characterize an alcoholic? I know how to do that quite well.
I think you're finally just playing yourself.
Yeah, only a lot shorter.
And stouter and more competent.
Hey.
More athletic. More wise.
And more religious.
Yes.
It's a cleric.
I also don't forge things.
You don't forge.
No.
Okay, so you're not really playing yourself, but I don't think you as a person would do great in a D&D world, just being like popped into existence.
He'd be a okay commoner.
I mean, if I invented gunpowder, that'd probably change the favor of my class.
Well, the artificer isn't released yet, so you can't.
All right, but I do know how to make gunpowder in real life.
And if like one farmer in a village somewhere in this D&D world makes gunpowder, I don't think it's going to have a big impact when you have wizards and warlocks and sorcerers and like tribes of barbaric orcs and like, well, I got this powder that explodes. Well, I cast a fireball from my hand.
Okay, but who has more range, a guy with an assault rifle or a guy with a fireball?
I guess it depends on the level of the assault rifle.
I don't
like
know
if
the
we're like
range.
these old school musket loaders. That's
Obviously,
not an
I'm
assault
going to
rifle
skip that.
anymore.
I live in a world where I know the mechanics of blowback weaponry, so I can make automatic rifles. Obviously, that's that easy.
Shield.
Shield. Oh. 3 seconds later.
Yeah, I guess guns don't work out too well. So, Druid and Paladin.
Yeah. So
Let's get into this.
So right off the bat, you have something that looks like it's initially really obvious. You had the Oath of the Ancients, which is all about nature and protecting nature of the Paladins.
Right.
And of course, you take that in multiclass into Druid. But as I was reading into it more and just thinking on it, it almost feels like double dipping.
Okay.
Because that seems... The Oath of the Ancients looks like it was created for the character concept of I want to be this holy warrior that protects nature.
Mm-hmm.
And nature-esque things and animals and whatnot. Which is why you would generally multi-class into a druid if you're like an Oath of Devotion paladin and multi-class into druid. Well, I'm a holy warrior that protects nature. It almost seems like a redundant multi-class. Like they made these two solid classes, took a look at them, and thought, man, I bet people are going to want to multi-class these, but it just doesn't work well. So we're just going to give them a built-in non-multi-class option for it. If all you're doing it is for that character option, just take Oath of the Ancients.
Okay, so what does Oath of the Ancients give that Druid gets as well?
Basically, the entire spell list was ripped directly from the Druid.
Oh, okay. Well, but spells, I mean, at least if you're a Druid and multi-classing there, then you can actually cast those spells. Paladins just get so few spell slots, and they're almost always better used on smites.
What's the spellcasting mechanic behind Druids? They know everything, correct?
Yes, they prepare.
All right, so... you do get those auto-prepared. I guess that could extend out, you know?
Yeah, you're going to get a lot of prepared spells, or I guess class-prepared spells, which is nice.
I say Paladin is also just prepared, right? They have the whole list.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep, same deal. But the Paladin spell list is just so small.
Right. Use it for smites.
Right, so the only thing
They
extra...
get Bless, though, and some Resurrects, I think. So if you're meshing them together, it's for mechanic reasons. There's something from the Druid side you want that you don't get from Paladin. Most likely that's going to be Wild Shape. The iconic Druid ability can turn into an animal.
Right. Yeah, I'm trying to think, the only other way you could do it is if you're doing the Oath of Vengeance and doing it as a much more angry eco-warrior. The hippie who's seen too much and is no longer just trying to play by the rules, but now wants to just Ted Kaczynski it up.
Yeah.
But you're right. Oath of the Ancients really gets a lot of stuff that Druids are going to get anyway. So the spells that you get, really all they're doing is allowing you to not prepare them. which is always good in a class where you have to limit yourself due to preparation of spells. It's nice to have half of the ones you actually want to use already prepared.
Yeah, and if you go Circle of the Land, I'm pretty sure pretty early on here you get the ability to restore some spell slots.
Right,
which is
natural
always
recovery.
great. Yeah, which is always great with a Paladin. Where is it? Yeah, level 2 for Circle of the Land. You can restore spell slots, which is always great with a Paladin, because there's nobody that's more spell slot thirsty than a Paladin.
No,
in those smites.
Their only limiting factor. And there's no reason why you can't use a Druid spell. Yeah, I mean, multi-class, they just go together. So you're kind of just giving yourself more smites. I mean, not only, of course, but you're giving yourself more opportunities to use smite where you don't have to be as conservative with them. A lot of times you'll wait for that crit or, just a really good moment, but it might be a lot easier to use that spell slot if you have so many.
Yeah. And I also like the idea of, so we looked this up beforehand. It's, as far as we could tell, wild shaped, you are able to smite. It says it needs a melee weapon attack, and most beast attacks specifically list them as melee weapon attacks.
Right.
And it's not a spell, it just used as a spell slot. So if you kind of strip away some of the flavor, you could actually get a really cool assassin concept out of a Druid Paladin. Just Druid 2 Paladin, whatever, preferably higher so they have more higher level spell slots to use.
Mm-hmm.
Wild shape into, say, a rat, sneak into someone's house, and bite them with a 5th level smite.
You're definitely going to take care of any commoner.
Oh, yeah. Any type of commoner, noble, someone who does not have class levels or a monster stat block, going to be taken care of like that.
Or if you're thinking long term, you could just be everybody's nightmare. If you just come in and do a low level smite as a rat, again, you go into the room over, do it on them. Go into the room over, do it on them. You're just waking these people up and they're just feeling like their entire bodies are being ripped apart by holy energy, which I doubt they'd be able to put their finger on.
Yeah, they'd have a tiny rat bite, and their entire body would be riddled with radiant damage.
Yeah,
it'd be any doctor would be like, I'm not sure what happened here, and they'd probably just give up and say this is just the weird work of some bizarre psychopath who decided to multi-class in Paladin and Druid.
Right, which again brings it more to the vengeance side. So I mean, of course, as you said, the obvious way is through a happy eco warrior who's saving nature. But the idea of almost being a more crazy, I guess, does sound interesting with that Oath of Vengeance.
Crazy characters are always fun to play.
Right.
Yeah, actually, or getting away from the protector of nature, the multi-class into Druid for the utility of it, again, of that wild shape. So you have Oath of Vengeance Paladin, and they're trying to seek out evil in the world. Sometimes that could be a little hard to find. So they have this really nifty ability to turn into some unassuming animal, a rat, a cat, a dog, whatever. And people, if they see an animal around, for the most part, they act as if they were alone. And what's the best way to tell who someone really is? When they're alone. So it's a really good way to spy on somebody, or you could become this stray cat and try to get taken in by this person you're not too sure about. And they start abusing the crap out of this cat, and poof, here's a Goliath, all black armor, vengeance paladin.
I was only pretending to be a cat.
Yes.
Now,
You've abused Scruffy one last time. For the last time. I'm not good at speeches.
One last time. You can do it a couple more times if you want.
Smack you right in the mouth.
Oh God, I'm sorry, Scruffy. I'll give you more treats.
Perfect. Goes back into a cat, carries on.
Yes.
Nothing never happened.
What's the limit? There's a time limit on wild shape, so I mean that'd be a little bit awkward.
Yeah, you'd have to.
You catch your cat going to the bathroom, and now it's a 7-foot Goliath in black armor. It's like, oh,
is it just an hour?
I think it's half your wizard level.
Wizard level.
Wow.
Wow.
That makes it really difficult.
Druid level. Yeah. If you want to pull it up, but picturing that. So it's a little cat in a litter box taking a shit. It's lost track of time, and now it's just this massive Goliath just taking a shit in the litter box.
For what it's worth, though, I mean, a cat would be a good way to hide that, because you can just kind of scamper off, disappear for a little bit. Where's... I don't know, what's a good cat name?
Scruffy.
Scruffy's a terrible cat name.
Bad
It's one of the
cat
worst
name.
cat names.
Whiskers.
Mittens.
Where's Miskin Whitners?
Miskin Whitners.
Yeah.
Miskin Whitners.
Yeah, I'd name my cat Miskin Whitners.
So you're
You
looking
had
for
a cat named Hobo Gloves.
Nobody that didn't stick around very well. Called him Oscar instead.
a good cat name. So yeah, I mean, you just kind of go off into an alleyway, turn back, and then it's your druid level rounded down or half rounded down in hours. So
if you minimum, you need to be a second level druid to do it. So you can do it for an hour, I think twice a day.
yeah,
So it's limiting, but it still definitely would have its uses
it'd be good for espionage.
and its utility, yeah.
Right.
Or on the opposite side of it, in Xanathars, you have the Oath of Redemption. They're redeemers. Their goal is to find these evil doers and try and convert them to the good path. And what's another better way to really check up on these people than taking some unassuming animal form and following them around? And you could kind of go like the Disney animal sidekick route where these people get this animal sidekick against their will who nudges them to do good things, and they try and manipulate them into it.
Yeah, I mean, all this is great, but it's very short-lived as a character concept. You can't spend all of your time being a dog and adorable.
Yeah. It would be kind of more of the backstory, and then you have some sort of call into the adventure, and you still try and use the utility of having the ability to turn into an animal to your advantage to the adventure. Like, it's kind of adapting it as you go.
The one person that you couldn't save turns out to be the big bad evil guy.
Yeah.
Boom. There you go. One thing that I noticed in Xanthars, there's that Circle of the Shepherd, and they get some nice auras, which Paladins as well are very aura-focused. So it's actually pretty good for your entire team. I think the Bear Totem one gives you advantage on strength, ability scores, as well as checks.
The bear spirit.
Bear Spirit, yeah.
Grants you and your allies its might and endurance. Each creature of your choice in the aura gains temporary hit points equal to 5 plus your druid level.
Which is good.
In addition, you gain advantage on strength checks and strength saving throws.
Okay. I mean, it's nothing amazing, but the temporary hit points is pretty nice.
And then if you have a grapple character.
Nope.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes.
There are no grapplers. No
There are.
grapplers allowed.
We've had lengthy discussions. We talked about it on air. We talked about it off of air. There's viability in a grapple character.
Keep saying that. The Aura of Protection doesn't give advantage on saving throws either. It just gives your charisma modifier. So that's actually pretty nice because you're now getting advantage on strength checks and saving throws, as well as getting that plus bonus.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem is there's not that many things that are strength checks while in combat besides grapples.
Right.
So I guess if you really had a grapple buddy,
Grapple buddy.
that'd be your best bet. Or if you're using it on yourself, you can just bear grapple people.
Yeah.
You're just wild shaped into a bear. Now you've got tons of strength, and you're just like
We could-
falling on top of
Can you be,
people.
no, you can't be a giant constrictor snake unless you're Circle of the Land.
That's not true.
Why do you say that?
Up to challenge rating 1.
Oh, right,
Oh.
right. So that lets you get up
Constrictor
to,
snake, challenge rating 2.
That's kind of a bummer.
Right. Yeah, and bears are higher than challenge rating 1.
Brown bears are challenge rating 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So
Depends
you
on the
can
bear.
turn into a
At
bear.
what level can you do that?
At 8th level.
8th level,
Oof.
you could get challenge rating 1.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, it's not really. So I mean, I guess that's a design, blah, 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 blah. A specific design thing of the druid. If you do not take Circle of the Moon, you're really not using wild magic, the wild shape in combat.
No, it's so weird. It just seems like the main class feature. Beyond that, you're just going to be casting some battlefield spells. I mean, you're just kind of like a gimped wizard that can occasionally change into shapes.
A gimped nature wizard.
A gimped nature
Yeah,
wizard.
you just have a different set of spells. I think there's very little overlap between druid spells and wizard spells.
There's very little overlap between druid spells and any other class. They
Sorcerer.
have sorcerers don't get a lot of druid spells.
Druid.
spells-
I'm sorry, I thought you wizard spells.
No, yeah, wizard spells
never
have
mind.
huge overlap.
Yeah.
But yeah, druids, it's kind of they're their own class spell list,
Yeah.
more or less.
So there's some interesting things in there. There's low overlap of ranger, but rangers are just half casters, so they're pretty limited. So it's kind of like the ranger is the martial variant of a druid, and then the druid is the full caster, unless you go Circle of the Moon. And then a lot of flavor stuff, again, for... And then out-of-combat utility. Regardless, even if you can only wild shape twice a day, and it has to be less than challenge rating 1, there's still a lot of utility in that.
If you need to swim or fly, sure. Or sneak into somebody's house.
Yeah, sneak in, spy on things. There's a lot you could do.
No, I'll give you that. It's got utility.
Get through a small area. You turn into a rat and scamper through the sewer and come up into the locked house or whatever. Or
I will say I'm looking at the Druid spell list right now, and at every single level, I'm seeing at least 2, 3, sometimes up to 5 spells that I would actually have to consider taking.
Well, like what?
Polymorph, of course, level 4. But even at first level, you get all the good ones. Cure Wounds, which is good. Good Berry, which is actually surprisingly good.
It is.
And Fairy Fire, which is really nice. I don't think wizards actually get Fairy Fire.
Can't remember.
I'm almost positive they don't.
don't.
I'd have to flip the page to find out, and I won't do that.
It's so loud.
It is. Thunderwave, of course. So that's just first level. I mean, I'm not going to read off the entire spell list, but I'm pleasantly surprised by it. You get a lot of versatility, which again brings up the whole thing with a multi-class between Paladin. You're getting all of the spells that are almost a guaranteed take just for free.
Right.
So you don't have to deal with that. If you go the Vengeance, you get Hunter's Mark, which is, I mean, just some extra damage.
Yeah.
And you can maintain
Solid.
that during your wild shape. Get that extra D6, I believe.
Yep, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, 1d6.
So that's pretty
I think
useful.
it's at every attack. And you could switch it as a bonus action, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yes, which, based off of what we were reading, any spell that's cast beforehand, you're able to continue using its bonus action features if you're in wild shape.
Yeah.
It's really just the casting.
Yeah.
Unless you get up to level 18 in... Oh, it's just level 18 in general. So.
Yeah. Yeah, then you could cast wild shaped. Which I think brings us to a good talking point, though, we always bring up. So if we multi-class out of a class, what do you give up if you hit that mythical level 20? And with Druid, that's a big penalty. Archdruid, which is it's widely considered the best capstone in the game.
Yeah.
You unlimited wild shapes.
I don't even know how you die.
Exactly, yeah.
It's just over damage. Like when you get hit and you just have to have like a team of paladins hunting you down, casting smite, and just doing crazy high damage.
Generally speaking, you're just going to be the last person on the battlefield. If it's
Right.
TPK, then the big bad evil guy is going to spend his entire turn trying to kill you. And it's going to be annoying.
Yeah.
You're a really annoying guy.
In case anyone's not aware, when you wild shape into something, so let's say you as a druid has 10 health, and these numbers are going to be way off, but you wild shape into a bear that has 20 health. Once the bear hits 0, you revert back to your druid at your 10 health, whatever health you were at when you turned into the bear. If any damage that drops the bear to 0, that's overkill, carries over into the druid. So let's say you're in your bear at 5 health and you get hit for 10 damage. There's 5 damage of overkill there. So then your druid form will take that 5 damage. So then you will revert back with 5 damage.
Right.
So it's only overkill, bleed over damage. So
Right.
I mean, there's definitely ways to work around it, but it becomes really tough. Because, like we said, the Archdruid, you get unlimited wild shapes. And if you're Circle of the Moon, you can do it as a bonus action. And by level 20, the challenge rating can get pretty high.
Of course. What do you mean?
What there's a... Well, so...
6 is the maximum you'll ever
6.
be able to
Okay.
shape into. Which
Okay.
there are some creatures that have a lot of health there.
Yeah.
How do you get to that high of a challenge rating?
So that's the main
circle
feature
forms.
of Circle of the Moon. Is
Yeah.
you could shape into higher challenge rating creatures, beasts specifically. And so then they become combat viable. At one level, you could do elementals as well.
Yeah, I see that. I feel like Circle of the Moon really is best if you're going up into those high levels for Druid. I mean, that's just crazy. You get some challenge ratings that can really pack a punch. As well as being able to expend a spell slot to regain some health per level of spell slot expended. Just keeps you in that for a little bit longer. Being able to transform as a bonus action allows you to get your spell out on the first turn as well as shift in one. So your first turn is a little bit less wasted, so to speak. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, no, it's pretty hard to choose a different type of druid than a transforming druid, because anything else you're ending up as a specific type of summoner or specific type of spellcaster, which is not where you want to be as a paladin in almost any situation, really.
No.
Then we've been kind of gushing over the druid, but paladins reserve plenty of gushing in there. That was really gross sounding.
Let's just unsay that.
Paladins are really great in their own right.
Definitely.
We love paladins.
I'm playing a paladin right now.
They're okay.
Yeah. Oh, you love them.
I really actually don't. It's like
Why?
it's a lazy version of the cleric, and only edgelords ever end up paladins. So
Not true at all.
A real man plays a cleric.
I think what's really funny, though, is for my paladin, I'm playing like a classic paladin, which we originally discussed is, obviously very obvious. Or, everybody's expected to play the lawful good paladin who is trying to do the right thing. But every single time we've had a paladin, since that way is so obvious, we try and do something else. So it was like a return to form. And I've loved it, actually. I thought it's been really fun. Because when I know I'm going to be at a table full of people who don't always want to do the right thing, it's nice to keep things in line. Yeah. Which is usually what you do.
Yeah, welcome to my world.
Yeah.
The chaotic good bard with a table with the secret big bad evil guy of a future campaign. Someone who doesn't really know, and then two people don't really know what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It was a lot of fun having a campaign where I basically gaslit you the entire time. And everybody was like, no, obviously, we don't have an evil person in the party. You're just being weird. Stop being so nervous. And then he was absolutely right.
I was right the entire goddamn time.
But he was never vindicated.
It was actually really cool. Dynamic in this campaign. It was very classical, kind of yin yang, good versus evil thing. But we were on the same team, and we really weren't sure of each other's motives. And Will did a really good job of downplaying all the secret motives of this character.
Right, like getting an orphanage. That was just like a random thing I threw in. You guys were sailing along the Whalebone Isles, I believe, and just stopped at a random island. Like, yeah, this would be cool. What's going to happen? And just said, yeah, let's put in an orphanage. And Will's character, Rin, was like, we should take these orphans and give them a home. And everybody's like, oh, this is a great idea.
Oh, wow,
Rin's so good.
So great.
As Kevin's character is just like, no, I don't like this idea at all. What are you going to do with these orphans? It was amazing.
But it made him seem like the asshole because he's like, no, we shouldn't adopt these orphans. When he absolutely was right. Those children would eventually become human sacrifices to a snake god. But everyone thought he was the dick.
Still my favorite campaign.
It was good.
That was a good one.
So, Paladin. As you said, there's tons of gushing to do over the Paladin.
Yeah, and anytime we've talked different combinations for just really high single target damage, our default is always compare it to a Paladin.
Right.
Like a great weapon master Paladin using smites. And we've yet to really find something that beats it consistently.
Especially from the get-go. The Paladin has always just got a constant damage increase. You'll find people at later levels do get the ability to burst down higher than a Paladin, but they weren't there for the rest of the game. The Paladin is just a damage machine.
Yes.
And it's worth noting that like every level of Paladin that you lose is kind of strength that you're losing from the Paladin as well.
Yeah, I'd say
both these classes benefit from focusing on them, like we said earlier.
Right. I mean, so we talked about which one would be good to like go very far into. Is there a good kind of stopping point? Trying to see like what features does Paladin get at later levels? I mean, improved smite is always great, especially if you're focusing on those smites, just extra smite damage.
And which does what? It just always adds a D8 to every attack.
Yeah, whenever you hit a creature with a melee weapon, the creature takes an extra 1d8 radiant damage. So that would, again, it says melee weapon. So we're saying that Druid claws would be...
like literally in the stat block, it says claws, like italicized, melee weapon attack.
Yeah, so I mean, that's just adding more damage. So I wouldn't see a problem from going up there. But level 14, You can use your action to end one spell on yourself or on one willing creature that you touch. It's pretty good.
Can be good.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that being able to end a really annoying fear or whatever.
That being said, the spells that you would really want to use that on would probably prevent you from using it. Dominate monster, hold person, stuff like that.
Right. So when it happens to you, it's not too great. But that's where Aura of Protection's useful. That's at 6th level. Gets bumped up at 18th level to a 30-foot aura. But you just get your charisma modifier for every single saving throw. Which is, I don't know, I always forget about that class feature for a Paladin. It's probably because I'm not currently level 6 and Out of the Abyss yet. But it's just really great. I mean, especially for somebody who's going to be up in the fight, causing most of the problems. A lot of the spells seem to be focused on the people up in the front line. Which I shouldn't be saying again. The DM's right here. Gonna work around that real quick.
And then the different subclasses of Paladin also get different auras. Like the Oath of Ancients one is an aura that gives you resistant to spell damage.
Ooh,
That's it. It's
really good though.
Yeah, very good. There's no like little special caveat of it or anything. Caveat.
Yeah, I mean that's amazing.
Yeah, and then the capstones, the Paladin capstones, are actually on the subclasses.
Right.
So they really vary. Reading through, I mean, there's definitely good stuff, but nothing really jumped down like the Druids. Jumped out like
Jumped
the Druid.
out.
Yeah.
What?
Jumped down. I don't know.
I would
Jumped down from the heavens to greet us. Sure.
I would semi disagree. They are pretty darn good.
I would say so.
But when you mix with a druid, I guess being able to fly gets a little bit less cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
but as a paladin, just the default of fly ability, pretty cool. Add the druid, I could see where the capstone not quite as good.
Right, but I still love the idea of an eagle soaring through the sky, dive bombing down, and just smiting the crap out of somebody. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, like talons out, hits them, and boom, radiant light bursting out.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be cool.
Oh, that'd be a great still frame for the campaign. Just like hitting the orc with his arms up and just like lighting up your eagle silhouette.
There's probably a drawing of that in one of these
books.
There's some cool ones.
That's a good flavor way to go about it. The ultimate freedom fighter.
Actually,
bald eagle flying.
But then you're really just dipping to get that wild shape.
Yeah.
And you have to. There's no.
You have to dip pretty hard in all of this to get anything good.
Actually,
to get to the point of flying.
Yes.
Yeah, it's level 8, I think. You just had that up. Turn back.
No. You guys are looking at the wrong thing. 8th level is flying. Yeah. Yep. No limitations at 8th level. So
movement type. Yeah.
On that, obviously CR.
Yeah.
So even the Circle of the Moon that lets you skip over those challenge ratings does not let you skip over any of the limitations. So if we're talking 8th level druid, it's hard to just be a paladin freedom fighter.
Yeah, no, you would have to
focus real hard.
As soon as you became an eagle, you're like, you know what? I also want to be a paladin. It's tough because this combination lends itself well to a class split.
Yeah,
but you end up for a lot of the campaign being a nerfed version of both.
To be honest, though, I wouldn't fight that too much. If somebody was 8th level as a druid and then decided that they wanted to then be a paladin, I mean, it still fits in line as long as you go that Oath of the Ancients. You're not changing too much. It's just your god is now giving you some powers to blow stuff up.
Yeah. You be a druid for a while. Some god takes notice of you and basically recruits you. Like, hey, you could be a better druid and we can make you better protecting the natural world, and I will bestow these special powers upon you, but you need to do my work.
Right.
No reason that couldn't happen.
Yeah. I think one issue with this, though, is that, well, really, if you don't go Circle of the Moon, then an issue is that your skills that this depends on are strength, charisma, and wisdom. Is that the 3?
Yeah. Paladin is strength and charisma.
Right.
Pretty sure Druid's just straight wisdom. We should have looked this
up.
No,
I'm pretty confident.
You have to play handbook. Yeah, you want to just double check that. As you're pulling that up, though, one interesting thing. So if you start with a Paladin and multiclass into a Druid, you have proficiency in heavy armor. If you start as a Druid and multiclass into a Paladin, you only get up to medium armor.
That's what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
Keep going, though.
Yeah, and the Druids have a note on them. Will never wear metal armor, which all heavy armor is metal. So it almost seems pointless. But I personally hate that restriction. It seems like this weird holdover from previous editions where the classes try to control the RP. Like where paladins could only be lawful good and monks could only be lawful and stuff like that. Where it's all been completely taken away in 5th edition, except for this one really weird holdout. Unless there's some sort of balanced reason behind it, I'm not recognizing. Like there's some combination where if a Druid with heavy armor gets absolutely nuts, so we're just pull that back and here's our reasoning. But I can't think of anything. It just seems like this weird old-fashioned holdout.
Can you use metal weapons as a Druid?
It just says we'll never wear metal armor.
That's...
Will not wear armor or use shields made of metal.
Yeah.
So it doesn't mention...
what's the weapon proficiencies?
Clubs, daggers, darts, javelins, maces, quarterstaffs, scimitars, sickles, slings, and spears.
Those are made
a lot
of metal.
of S's.
Yeah.
Those are all made of metal.
Yeah.
Or half of them.
Seashells. By the seashore.
Oh, this is my wooden scimitar. Said literally no one.
Heads up, it was wisdom, strength, and charisma. Those
All
are
at
what
13,
you need.
yeah.
So I mean, I don't know. Even if it is a weird holdup, it's still the class.
Yeah, it's something almost as a DM I would almost want to say, you know what, just don't worry about that if it fits your character.
Kevin, would you accept plate armor made out of wood that
Not
had to be
wood.
replaced regularly?
Yeah, then there is the question, so can you get heavy armor out of something else? In the book, in the player handbook, I specifically looked up every heavy armor in there. It's very clearly metal.
Yes.
But what about like dragon mail? Made out of dragon scales. And like every RPG that's not D&D, that's generally a thing, and it's the beefiest, heaviest armor.
I think
Can
also...
that be okay? Just have to pay more, or...
You can also... I think you can do splint made out of bone, if the bone's nice enough.
Sure, yeah, bone.
But it is a limiting factor. The question is, does that make it less appetizing to start as a paladin? Because you lose out on the armor benefits. I lean towards maybe.
I'd say just keep it. I don't know. I don't see it being that big of an issue. I mean, you do have to become a Dex Paladin to really get your
Let's
AC
not
up
add
anywhere.
another requirement for our class.
But if
attribute.
if the plan is to just be in your wild shape most of the time, then your armor doesn't make too big of a change. I'm saying if it's Circle of the Moon, where you're going to be in
but
there.
you're still limited to what? Just, what is it, twice a day?
Yeah, I mean, depending on how many Druid levels you go into.
I thought that was how long it lasts.
Oh, well, then you're just, by 8th level, you could be in there, what? It's only 2 hours?
It's your Druid level determines the beast you can transform.
Half your Druid level rounded down. So 4 hours. That's half of an adventuring day.
No, that half your Druid level rounded down is how long you could be.
I know, I'm saying if you transform once, then you just don't come out of it.
Right.
That's assuming you don't get blasted in the face and die.
Yeah, and also keep in mind, you can't talk like that. You're probably not going to be able to enter towns. Like, there are reasons to come out of it.
It depends on the animal, man.
But regardless, I mean, I think it's, we have to go by raw. So it's just something that you have to take. I mean, you have to deal with it. So,
like I said, we have our tangents. That's mine. I don't like how that's there.
I'll agree. I don't like it.
But you're right. We're not bringing in UAs and stuff. So it's clearly, very, very clearly written in there. They even make a note of it in the multi-class area.
Yep.
To just remind you. So yeah, you would have to be a paladin, not in heavy armor.
Yeah.
Or, I mean, I guess that's not raw, but somehow in the campaign, find a heavy armor that's not made of metal, which is up to the DM's discretion.
Right.
Like making custom items and custom magic items. It could be a magic item, an armor that's made of leather that's been magically imbued with extra protection, and it give you 18 AC.
The magic wooden plate.
Or it could just be +1, any type of armor.
Yeah.
That's basically what you're saying.
I'm picturing Bender on that island when he was made out of wood. That's what you would look like as you're running around with your giant wood helmet and your giant wood armor.
In Futurama.
Yes. Because you can't really shape wood very much, so you're going to have basically a log strapped to your chest. And that's going to protect you. A lot of people are like, oh, that's not going to work. Oh, it'll totally work. It's just going to weigh about 400 pounds, and you can't move your arms very well.
Right.
Yeah, so I think, just going with medium armor, I mean, you're going to take a bit of an AC hit. I don't know if it's really going to be the end of the world. You'll still have as much AC as a normal druid would.
Right.
I don't think it's expected that you're going to be up in the fight as much as a paladin. This is more of a problem if you decide to go 15 levels of paladin and 5 of druid.
Yeah.
Like, for example, I don't know the exact numbers, but, just something where you're focusing on druid, it's just something that you kind of accept. The other way, you might need to bribe your DM with Doritos to get them to give you some nice heavy armor.
Yeah.
That works.
Yeah. So kind of where you're saying a paladin dipping into druid probably.
It gimps them more than it helps.
Yeah. Well, then again, though, 2 levels, wild shape. Oh, tons of, in combat, yes. Out of combat opens up a ton of utility.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, there's a lot of creative things you could do with wild shape. Even just at a 2nd level druid.
I hate to do this. This is getting pretty numbers heavy. But if you had I really wish that we had a stat array that we could go off of. I'm trying to think of what the highest dex you could have is if you were forced to use that medium armor.
Yeah. Well, so if you go 13, 13, 13 of that's. I could pull up a calculator. So yeah, we always do point by. We probably mentioned that before,
But we'll mention it every time.
Yep.
Standard 27 point by.
Yeah. Point by calculator. So let's see. So we need wisdom at 13, charisma at 13, and strength at 13.
Mm-hmm.
So this is currently without any racial bonuses.
Right, let's just say human to start.
Sure. Yeah, that makes it easy. Non-variant human. So actually then we just need to do 12, 12, and 12.
Right.
So we still have... So that uses up 12 points to get there. Everything else is at 8. We probably want con at least a 10. We'll dump intelligence, and then...
The only thing we get to dump.
Right. That's literally it.
All right, so then we could get dexterity up to 15. And that actually puts us at 23 out of 27 points. There's some room here, but then
Right.
do you really want to be a paladin with 12 strength?
No.
The answer
No.
is no.
No, of course not.
Yeah. Oh, so we would be... Are you saying you want to attack with dexterity with finesse weapons, a paladin with finesse?
I'm not saying I love it.
Yeah.
I'm saying that it's an option.
It is a thing, a dual wielding paladin. I've seen, I don't know the specifics. I've seen stuff like you can make a cool pirate from a paladin that's dual wielding if you reskin it a bit.
Right. I just remembered you really only need 2 dex.
Yes.
With medium armor, you can only get max of 2 added with your dexterity modifier.
Well, so that's 14 though.
Right.
Which is
That's yeah. Of course, it's a little bit high, but I mean, you were saying that we got up to 15 with it. It just wouldn't be necessary. Have that as 13, and then you get a good amount of room to work with there.
Yeah, that's use. Then
It's still an
And a shield.
expensive way to go.
Shield. You can have a wooden shield.
Yeah, there's no reason that you would not be able to have a wooden shield.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And then take the paladin dueling, I believe it's called, fighting style.
fighting. Yeah, paladin is good.
You get a fighting style at level 2.
Do you?
Yep.
Okay, that was level 1 for some reason, but yeah, with then a point by. So dexterity at 13 if you're human, it bumps it up to 14, so you get your plus 2. Strength at 15, so you get 16. So that's the maximum strength you're going to start at with point by. Con of 10, which is kind of scary, but intelligence 8, and then actually we could do. Oh yeah, wisdom and charisma both need to be 13, so 12. So that's kind of gets you there.
If you were really scared, you could do the defense fighting style. Wouldn't recommend it because that's only while you're wearing armor, and you're not considered wearing armor when you go into your wild shape.
Yeah.
But, just depends on how much you're using wild shape. Dueling, when you're wielding a melee weapon in one hand and no other weapons, you gain a +2 to damage rolls with that weapon. You can still have a shield with that.
But I don't think that would apply to wild shape either.
No, it would not.
I don't think any of these will apply to wild shape. They're fighting styles, and as a bear, you generally don't have a fighting style. You're just a bear.
Yeah, that's fair. Besides protection,
Oh yeah.
nope, you must be wielding a shield.
Oh,
Yeah.
Shields.
Yeah, I
Power
remember
shields.
starting to read like, oh, that's perfect with because you can absorb it with like your bear hit points.
Mm-hmm.
Not like naked as a bear. Your hit points as a bear. And then it doesn't actually have a lasting effect. No, you need a shield. Actually, I have a good point array here. So before we're adding any racial modifiers, strength at 15, dexterity at 13, constitution at 13, intelligence 8, wisdom 12, charisma 12. So once you make it, if you pick human, so you'll start with 16 strength, 14 dex, 14 con. You got your 13 wisdom and charisma, and then 9 intelligence. Not terrible. Just don't rely on spells with a save.
Yeah.
Or
which is really, really crappy for a druid. They get a lot of good damage spells.
Do they?
Yeah. I mean, they have like lightning bolt. They get all those ones. I mean, they even have a lot of
good. I thought that was one that
lightning bolt.
Lightning bolt's dope, dude.
Yeah, it's like fireball in a direct line.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Moonbeam.
Moonbeam also a save. Entangle, which I know is battlefield control, and it seems like you guys don't really like battlefield control spells.
No, I love battlefield control spells.
Oh, okay.
Think about it, like, and I haven't played a full caster in a while, but when I did, like my bards, they were all battlefield control.
I just remember them
Hypnotic
using
pattern
vicious mockery and hypnotic pattern.
Well, hypnotic pattern's a really good battlefield control. Fog cloud.
Okay.
Oil slick.
Yeah, I've actually argued for fog a lot. Not obviously on air, but just I really like the idea of fog, and I feel like it
Fog cloud?
Yeah, fog cloud doesn't get used enough.
It's a solid one. What's really nice, I think it's just level 1, and what's really nice, it just happens.
Right.
There's no failure of it. There's no save. There's no attack. You when you cast it, you know exactly what it will do, and it makes the area heavily obscured, which essentially counts as blindness.
Right.
So if you like put it between ranged people and you, they're going to get disadvantaged firing through it because they can't see you. If you put it on somebody, they're going to get disadvantaged on all attacks because they can't see. They can of course move out of it before a level 1 spell.
Right, but I always like the idea of just putting it on any ranged enemies the DM throws, cast it on them, then they have to move closer, most likely, in order to not have disadvantage.
Yeah.
But I also heard that fog clouds are a hipster's favorite spell because it makes everything obscure.
That's terrible. God. That's not funny at all.
You can cut that.
That was about the worst joke I have ever heard, and I think it tanks our entire reputation.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go home.
Yeah, we're done. That's it, guys. I'm sorry.
So in conclusion, yeah, that was a huge waste of time. This entire discussion was just dumb. Don't do this.
I just don't think I landed on that at all.
All right.
Your pun ruined it.
Oh, yeah, no, your pun did ruin
We're going to think, all right, I need to make a new character. How about Druid Paladin? No, that's just, I get a bad taste in my mouth because of this pun.
No, they have access to Fog Cloud, and Jared made that really terrible joke one time.
Spell now banned at the table forever.
What time are we at?
We're 50 minutes. We're
50
doing good.
minutes?
I do have one character concept I want to get to.
Cool.
This will be flavor only, because it's a 2-level druid dip for a paladin.
Okay.
Whatever, which we talked about has some detriments. The Circle of the Shepherd is the druid that is a friend of all animals. Basically, when they pick it at level 2, they pretty much get the permanent Speak of Animals spell. They can talk of animals, and they can interpret their grunts and their squeaks and their silly little gestures and all that. I love the idea of take a real edgelord paladin, like Oath of Conquest, Fallen Paladin, Oath of Vengeance, anything like that, and they're the typical gruff, holy warrior paladins, conquer through fear and reign with a mighty fist. But damn it, they just really love animals.
Yeah, that's pretty adorable.
Sweet spot for animals, and like it always has a little chipmunk on its shoulder, just
right. I like the idea of
hanging
just
out.
Druids. If you're a druid and you don't have a little chipmunk friend, then you're playing it terribly. And you just need to have some tiny, obviously non-combat companion that you can't control, but it's just like a little friend.
Yeah. So yeah, it's pretty much applying the Disney princess effect on this big badass, scary paladin. That's like people's nightmares. And
going the other way with that doesn't have to be very scary. He can just be like the nicest paladin in the world who just also loves animals and is like the friendliest chump in the world.
And vengeance.
And vengeance.
My two favorite things,
vengeance.
Animals, vengeance.
Yeah. I can see that being played both ways really well, where they're obviously very mean to people, but then like an animal comes around and they're like, oh, it's a puppy. But the other way around of them just being extremely nice to absolutely everybody and like the friendliest human in the world it seems like just that layer of non-typical party member that I could definitely get down with.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, or the really stern, tough Oath of Vengeance paladin who smites the unworthy from this world. They'll go into an area like a area of a forest that's been burned down, and he calls forth a little chipmunk on his hand, and it's like, "Who did this to your home, Mr. Chipmunk?" Squeak, 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 squeak. We will wreak vengeance upon him. Go forth and be with your family.
I only took 2 levels. I actually don't know what he said.
What was that? I'll kill somebody. Don't worry. That'd be kind of an annoying companion to have. It's like, no, we do have bigger, badder people to deal with than loggers.
No, actually, one thing with that though is if they're like an extreme lover of animals, I would probably make them. Well, I don't know how I'd handle this, but it'd be really tough to justify them killing any animals that attack you. Which is always kind of a weird thing with the druid. It's like, oh, I love every single animal. They're all my friends. Oh, wait, this wolf is going down for no other reason than, he's just hunting. He's doing his thing. We could just easily leave 99% of the time. But we're going to kill it because the rest of the party wants to kill it. And I don't want to be that guy who's not killing the wolf. It's like, no, that's your class. Your class is just don't hurt animals.
That's why they have a lot of spells that are like, hey, animals, leave me alone.
Yeah.
But you don't get those for a while, unfortunately.
Right. So it's like, oh, good thing I slaughtered 10,000 boars to get to the point that I could save 5.
I think Circle of Shepherd at higher levels gets something where its beasts are less likely to attack you. Or
they have to make a wisdom saving throw to even attack
like
you.
That. Or that might just be a core druid thing.
Nope, that was Circle of the Shepherd.
Is it? Because the rest of their high level stuff is on summons. So they get Talk of Animals, which, I mean, I guess could apply that. And then you get the Spirit Totem thing that we already talked about.
Page flip.
Mighty Summoner, so your beast and phase you summon are better. Guardian Spirits.
Who gets that then?
I don't know.
Probably just made it up.
I think it's just a core druid. It would make sense.
It's not even a little.
Did we make it up?
No, I just saw it. I'm telling you.
We just made it up.
I just looked at Circle of the Shepherd.
Look at it again.
I don't want to. This isn't good radio. Come listen to us flip through books for an hour that you can't see.
You're the one who's insisting that it's not real. Because it's probably not real.
Maybe it's that other one in Xanthers, not Shepherd.
Circle of Dreams?
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll put a pin in that.
No, we're going to figure it out.
No, we're not.
I don't care if you do a time skip, man.
Fine.
So I made something up.
Yeah, let's address that.
I guess. If somebody can find it and get back to us, because we'll probably not look at these classes again for another week.
Jared, please apologize to everyone for just making shit up.
I'm so sorry to everybody for making shit up.
All right, so, well, that answers that question. You do have to put effort into not getting attacked by animals.
Final thoughts, though. I honestly don't mind this class. I thought I'd really hate the idea of it from the start, and that the only thing you could really do is the eco warrior, and you can. I mean, that's the principles of it. But I think you could do some fun things. You're definitely not going to be optimized in really any capacity. But I think the one thing I'm really noticing is we keep talking about like, oh, you have to be using multiple stats here, so you're really going to be limited. But at the end of the day, it seems like you can usually create an array that is good enough.
Yeah.
You might not have 15 or 16 in both the things that you want, I'm thinking before racial bonuses. But you're still going to have a solid everything. I mean, it doesn't have to be min-maxed every time.
Yeah, definitely. Again, it just... There's tons of flexibility since there's not like, oh, you have to get this level in Paladin and this level in Druid for that perfect synergy. It's just kind of go the levels you want to get the skills you're looking for to fit your character. You just kind of pick and choose. So I have I have that concept, and I want up to this level in Druid because I like these skills. Anything else doesn't really fit the character, and then the rest will be Paladin, and you just kind of make it work. You have options.
Yeah. Will?
I like the idea of a primarily druid character dipping in paladin for an enhanced kind of beast smite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's still my favorite concept. That's
Mhm.
still my favorite mechanically. I think the eagle thing is a really good idea and really awesome too.
Yeah. No, definitely. I would say that's your coolest character is the one that's just all druid and it's like, and I also happen to have some powers from my god that let me just, nuke it. I mean, as many times a day as the druid will allow you to.
It's just extra damage, man.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, if you could use the higher slot you get from a druid
Mhm.
to upcast smite. I didn't think of that.
Yeah.
That could be really good.
Yeah. So, I mean, the 2 dip in paladin is not
Yes.
bad and
No.
you don't have to worry too much about, you just have to get your strength to 13, which as
Yeah.
we were saying is just not hard.
And charisma. Well, we already figured that out. It's not a bad stat array. It just
Not optimal.
is that worth it for the 2-level dip? And I guess it's up to your character concept.
Mm-hmm. Flavor over everything.
Flavor über alles.
I still don't know what that means.
Yeah.
I think it's German.
I think you're making stuff up.
I do make a lot of stuff up, not about classes though.
Yeah, but you don't make yourself apologize for it.
That's because it's not about D&D. Stay on topic.
All right, we're running out of time here. We need to talk
All right.
Monster of the Week.
Okay, sounds good.
We return with this week's Monster of the Week, the terrifying, the horrifying, the Nightwalker. Now, there are a lot of planes in D&D. One of them that doesn't get mentioned very much is the negative plane. The negative plane doesn't get mentioned very much because it's almost impossible to travel there. It is the anthema to all life on Earth. It is a representation, not quite of death, but of anti-life. This is not exactly a zombie we're talking about. This is the opposite of being alive. Now, when you travel to this horrifying realm, if by some bizarre chance you manage to survive it, you find out that your being on the material plane has been replaced by one incredibly big, incredibly bad evil guy. His name is the Nightwalker, and at challenge rating 20, he represents a serious threat to even the strongest of parties. To get out of this horrifying negative plane, you've got to find a way to lure him back with life and then escape. Killing him locks you into the worst place in the entire Dungeons and Dragons realm forever. Now, looking at his mechanical abilities, this is going to be a pretty interesting but pretty straightforward character. What do you guys think? What is the scariest part about facing a Nightwalker?
The Annihilation Aura.
Definitely.
If you were within 30 feet of the Nightwalker, you have to make a DC 21 Constitution saving throw or take 46 necrotic damage, and then the Nightwalker has all advantage on attacks against you for the turn.
Yeah, and its attacks are nothing to scoff at. Its main one that it can do twice around has a 15-foot reach. So if you're anywhere within half of its aura, you're going to have basically almost guaranteed it'll have advantage against you. And it's doing 5d8 plus 6 necrotic damage. And you have to succeed on, again, a DC 21 con save. And if you're hit, your maximum hit point, or your hit point maximum, is reduced by the necrotic damage taken. That's killer. 5d8 plus 6, even at the higher levels that'll be facing this, which we're talking anywhere above 15, I think could be seen tackling this, challenge rating 20. You'll probably want to be higher. That'll bring you down really quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, average of 28, it's hitting that twice. So it's average of 56 per turn. You could basically reduce somebody's hit point max to 0 in about 2 turns if you focus them and got some average rolls.
Yeah, absolutely. And this also has the Life Eater effect. So if you do die from it, if you are reduced to 0, sorry, not even if you die. If you're reduced to 0 hit points, you don't get to go unconscious and make death saves. You immediately die, and the only way you could be brought back is through a wish spell. No raise dead, no true resurrection. It has to be a wish spell if you hit 0 HP.
Yeah,
Which
so
is just terrifying.
So mechanically, it's obviously frightening. As you said, pretty straightforward. So that makes me wonder, how do we bring this into a campaign? I mean, you'd have to know a lot about it. Is this something that we want to have as a big setup? Obviously, the players are not going to be the ones who are entering into the negative plane.
I don't say obviously not. There is means to do that, but you do have to shape your campaign around them going to just a place they shouldn't be at. This is a jaunt that actually rivals going to the Nine Hells. There's very little reason to go to somewhere that actually actively sucks out the soul of all living creatures in it. That's a bad decision 99 times out of 100.
Right, but even if they do go into the negative plane, they have no way out unless this thing is led back into the plane.
Exactly.
So what's even your option there as a PC?
That's a good question. That's up to the DM. How do you figure out how to lure these people back? You need powerful magic just to contact the previous realm. What do you trick a bunch of people in a bar? Hey, come near this weird Shadowfell type planar overpass.
Yeah,
just stand there until you see a horrifying thing, then just kind of duck out of the way and have them run back into the realm. I don't know about that. So the reality is you're probably going to be dealing with these as a consequence of an incredibly powerful wizard, maybe even a lich type, making the very silly decision to go to the negative plane. And, well, sucks to be him. You got to kill this thing before it destroys everything on Earth.
Yeah, I just can't think of a way. I get that it says, you can lure it back in with life. That is very vague. I just don't see any way that you're,
with
as you said,
life? What do you mean?
That's what it says. It says you just have to lure it back with the offer of life. So like somebody's life.
Yeah, or
living creatures.
Hey, look,
in
here's
general.
This living creature in the portal. Go on, go get it.
Right, and
like
I don't
tricking
know.
my dog inside of a tree.
Right, I guess that brings up, is it, well, okay, actually this kind of answers it. Its intelligence is 6.
So that might work.
Yeah, so it basically is a dumb animal.
So if somebody enters the negative plane, it's like it sounds like their position in one of these Nightwalker positions are swapped.
Mm-hmm.
So then you have other living people need to be lured back into this portal into the negative plane. If they're standing in there, is that 2 more Nightwalkers?
Well, I think it's as Will said, it's them standing in front of it and going, hey, come over here, Nightwalker, and then just ducking out of the way. If they duck into it, then 3 more Nightwalkers just poofed into existence, and it's just a cascading effect until the entire world is covered in Nightwalkers.
Yeah, or they're slain, but
nope, just covered in Nightwalkers. Only option.
So, and that way of defeating it feels really anticlimactic. Like I would almost be disappointed. I think it would need to be hidden information. Like they really need to seek that out, not obvious. And just because they're an intelligence of 6 doesn't mean they're like a dumb dog. Like, ooh, living thing, and they run in. It's, oh no,
right,
I've been tricked. They needs to be harder than that.
I like the idea of just like, you got a squirrel. You're like, fetch the squirrel, boy.
Squeaking, screaming as you throw it into the negative plane of energy. But this squirrel's not like other squirrels. It survives the transition. And you get 2 fucking Nightwalkers.
Yeah.
No,
just use a fake squeak toy squirrel.
Oh, yeah, there you go. No problem. No, I mean, I would probably set up something like a spell of some sort to have some type of major push. That way you could at least have it like you're fighting around them and you have to get them weak enough in order to use this spell that will have them be sucked back in to this negative plane.
Yeah.
That's the first thing I'm thinking.
So you could set up quests and plot around getting this kind of ritual spell in play. So first, discovering what to do with this thing. Second, how do you actually accomplish getting it back in?
Third, being strong enough to
do it.
Take all of this down.
Okay. And I like the idea of, instead of like a lich or an evil wizard, it's a really well-loved NPC that makes a mistake. And poof, now this NPC's in this negative plane, and you know, and just somehow set it up plot-wise. The characters know, all right, we could probably kill this thing, like if they're higher level. Like if you're level 20, you could definitely handle it. It's not going to be a fun fight.
No.
But you can handle it. But then this beloved NPC that does a lot of good in the world, maybe they're the king of this whole region and they've brought prosperity and wealth, and poof, they're just gone. Do we just slay this thing and leave that king out there? This really good person?
Or maybe like a Doc Brown type, where it's like a PC's master or, mentor.
Yeah.
And an experiment goes awry and they get sucked into the negative plane and poof, now you've got this Nightwalker. And it's up to this party now to figure out what to do to deal with it and how to get them back.
Right. And so you would definitely have the parties that just say, fuck it, kill it.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have this big fight, and that's that, and then you have this loss of this NPC, and I think you would need to put ramifications and consequences in it. Or then you have the one, all right, we need to find some other way to get rid of this thing to bring Doc Brown back or whoever.
I don't know, that's the first thing that came to mind.
But then all the time you spend figuring out how to do that, this Nightwalker is just going around wrecking havoc.
Right. So you're essentially making the choice of, do we focus on just getting powerful as quick as possible and being able to fight this thing to just get rid of the problem? Or are we going to spend more time, allow more people to die than our one mentor, and just have all those problems?
Yeah. Studio door opening. We have this studio for the next hour. We're in a basement.
Everyone knows you got to make your studio doors nice and squeaky.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, someone got home.
All right.
It's fine.
So another possibility is kind of just freestyling it. I think it's not too far outside the realm of possibility to say there's an interstitial area between these two planes where you go there, you realize, you can't leave until this Nightwalker comes back. This horrifying, and this thing is absolutely massive. The picture features it more than 4 times the size of a normal human, just nice and tall and lanky and goat-like. He walks in and is like, all right, that's the big fight. That's the horrifying fight in this interstitial, and when you beat him, you can leave. That's you can kind of approach this in a more simplistic way like that. And you've still got a challenge rating 20 absolute monstrosity to deal with, because I don't think we've mentioned it, but it is basically resistant or immune to everything.
Yes.
Acid, cold, fire, lightning, thunder, bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing from non-magical means.
Yeah, but I mean, that always comes up, the non-magical attacks. At challenge rating 20, everybody has magic.
But your big nukes are generally going to come from your wizards, and they're going to be one of these things that is resistant to.
Yeah.
This guy is very tough, and he's got Finger of Death, 300 feet. It can take out a lot of casters that way.
Yeah.
I think what's a lot scarier than its damage resistances and immunities is all of the condition immunities. Exhaustion, frightened, grappled, paralyzed, petrified, poisoned, prone, and restrained. So first thing I think of, they're resistant to damage. Well, at least I can cast Hold Monster and things of that sort that are going to slow it down in some capacity, and just nothing.
Nope. That's on the last. As a DM, I would almost feel bad throwing this thing just randomly without a setup at my players, because there's a really good chance of permanent character death.
Right.
Which I mean, I know needs to happen in D&D, but I always kind of like it where they did it to themselves. It was a series of things. This could be a couple unlucky rolls and just dead because with that Life Eater ability.
Yeah, I mean, of course, death is a part of D&D, obviously, but you don't want to take away player agency. Right. That's the number one thing. Somebody needs to feel like, oh man, I died because, either the rolls didn't go my way or I made a mistake. If it just feels like I died because the DM had a bad day, you're not having fun.
Right. Or if it's just a couple bad rolls. Like
Right.
Yeah. So I like the idea of they're somehow made aware of it, and you could still use your idea, Will, where there's that, what did you call it? Interstitial? Is that
interstitial?
Interstitial. Okay. I figured it out from context, but I'd never heard that word before. But an interstitial area between these two planes, and here's the big bad guy we have to fight to get out. But somehow, for some reason, earlier on, they need some information about what this thing is. Mm-hmm. So that they're aware how dangerous and how easy it is for them to permanently die and cease to exist from fighting this thing. It will add a lot of tension to that fight. It will put everyone operating at 110% capacity, optimum tactics, trying to be as smart and as safe about fighting this thing as possible.
Right. This is something I'd almost set up as a smaller fight in between to make them aware of some of these terrifying conditions that can be brought on them. Because if somebody runs in and they're expecting a hit to just be a regular hit, later on we can heal it right back up, they might not be as terrified. Whereas if they've already encountered this thing once before, and they know that if they get hit by its enervating focus, then they're going to have their entire max hit points reduced. They're going to be a lot more cautious about getting up close, about running in there with little cares in the world. So they need to be aware of how terrifying this thing is and how quickly it can fuck them up.
Yeah.
And I would say that this Challenge rating 20 is often what you'll see for the big bad guy in like a level 15, level 16 kind of campaign.
Mm-hmm.
But this guy does enough that it almost seems like it's a better fit for a mild challenge for a 20th level party. And, you know, you could do the Doom style where you're like, oh, our level 20 party just finally stomped this guy. Holy crap, he was tough. And then 2 more walk out. And you're like, oh crap. Because that is a bad fight right there. But at level 20, we're talking some of the most power you're going to see in a character. So 2 of these guys, incredibly tough fight, but possible.
Right. I mean, yeah, at 20, it's medium. That's just all there is. Also, this is one of the best times to have protection from good and evil.
It is.
Just making sure that your person up in the
undead,
fight does not get attacked right away would be pretty darn useful for such a low-level spell.
Actually, so to add on to that, it is undead. So clerics and paladins will kind of stomp this thing. It does not have any legendary resistances. It can't just choose to pass, you know, turn undead and different stuff like that. And then paladin smites do extra damage on undead. I know clerics get extra stuff against undead.
Right.
So it kind of party composition matters as well. Yeah, actually, I like the idea of if you're level 20, have multiple of these.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
One of these will be stomped very quick, as we see over and over again in 5e. One tough guy against the party. The action economy is too important. They're just going to be stomped into the ground. Maybe someone who got unlucky will be taken out along the way, and that's not really fun.
Right. But, you know, all of those level 20 campaigns that happen,
Right.
it just doesn't.
Yeah. So, yeah, like a level 15, party of 15s.
Right. More realistic setting of seeing it is this is going to be a bit of a campaign builder, at the very least an arc builder.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, it would definitely ruin your day at anything below 18, I think.
Yeah.
I'm actually very curious about the negative plane itself. I'd like to read more about that. It sounds pretty stupid. Pretty stupid to go to.
It does.
Yeah.
Like a thing I wouldn't want to exist.
Yeah, actually, I was wondering if there's more negative plane creatures. You could, like, weaker stuff you can add on to this to make it a more interesting, dynamic fight.
Yeah, then you have the idea of the negative plane has been opened, and you essentially have, you know, in the same idea of like demon spawns coming
like
out of
the abyss.
Right. You've got it with the negative plane. So we'll definitely have to look into that. I'm sure we can find some other interesting ones and maybe even revisit the idea of the Nightwalker. Not entirely, but just kind of mention it and be like, oh yeah, Nightwalker would be really cool here. Then we'll move on.
Right. Okay, any other last thoughts or...
Yeah, it's really tall, and I really like the art on it.
Yes, it is
everybody
really
should
cool.
check that out. If we didn't say it, 216, Mordekainen's Tome of Foes. I don't believe that was mentioned, but it has this amazing picture of the Nightwalker just towering over one lowly human, and it's great. Not enough art in D&D really captures the size of some of these huge creatures. It's nice to have a perspective to gauge it off of.
Yeah, definitely my favorite art. It was one of my favorite pieces of art in the entire book.
Definitely. Cool. All right.
That's all I got.
I think we've gone pretty far over. Sorry about that. But thanks for listening.
Bye.
Next time on Monsters in Multiclass.
Next week, we're going to be talking about the Ranger Warlock multiclass, as well as our monster of the week, which will be the Neothalid.
Yeah.